Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video by yours truly. We're going to be consolidating Galbrena's kit. As you guys know, every time they launch these absolute yap fests, I mean, you go through these things and there's just so much information, so many details, which I appreciate. But for the average individual and vast majority of players, they don't know what the hell they're looking at. And so I already went through this entire thing meticulously and diligently. And I pretty much made an entire notepad breaking it down. If you look at mine, it looks a lot better than, that Yap Fest over there. And once I explain it all to you, I think you'll have a better grasp with how her kit functions, because it seems like it's incredibly complex, convoluted, and just too difficult to grasp. And that's what I make these guides for, so people can have a better understanding. That way, once the character comes out, you have a good idea as to what you're looking for with these characters. And so with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. Main priorities for Galbrena is going to be these three right here: building Sin Flame, building After Flame, and entering her demon hypostasis mode. And there's an important note I want you to take note of. Galbrena is a ramp up meter management before ulting kind of character. She's similar to Zani and Augusta, but it's not as difficult as you would expect. I will say though, there's some micromanagement. Case in point, when you play Zani, one of the things about her that is kind of difficult is before you can even cast her ult, which is where all the bread and butter and magic occurs, you have to fill up this meter down here. And you can only fill that meter up by applying Spectral Frazzle to the enemies. Building Spectral Frazzle up by applying it not only with her, but with her teammates too. It'll eventually fill this meter up to the brim, and now you're able to cast her ultimate. And once you cast her ult, it eats away at this meter in order for you to get those enhanced big dig damage heavy attacks. That's going to be a very, very similar concept to Galbrena. So let's start off with building her Sin Flame. It's actually very easy. Quite literally any attack in her arsenal will build up Sin Flame. However, they failed to supply the numerical value of how much Sin Flame you get depending on the skills you're using. So we don't know that, which means I can't prescribe a rotation to how you're going to go about this without playing the character. But what I will say is the goal is to fill up 100 points of threshold, and intro skilling in will give you Sin Flame. Heavy attack, basic attack, dodge, all that shit gives Sin Flame. Just know the main priority though, you need to hit 100 points. Why? Because 100-point threshold will now unlock her enhanced skill, and her enhanced skill is the literal only way to enter demon hypostasis mode, her devil trigger mode, where she gets enhanced multipliers and does the most damage possible. And there's an important other little detail here. The 100-point threshold of Sin Flame, once you pop her enhanced skill, it's going to be converted into what's called Purging Flame. And think of that once again as Zani in her ultimate. When she's doing her attacks, she's eating away at this yellow meter, her heavy attacks. That's the exact same concept as Purging Flame for Galbrena. Once you fill up Sin Flame, enter the demon hypostasis mode, and you start just popping off with her Bayonetta Dante fucking kit, she's going to start eating away at her Purging and Flame meter in exchange for those enhanced damage abilities. That is the concept. Let me look at the jargon. I didn't want to steer you guys wrong. The Sin Flame. Sin Flame, fill it up 100 points, pop enhanced skill, enter demon hypostasis mode. Sin Flame converts into Purging Flame, and you start eating away at that shit to trade off for the damage. Literally just like Zani. Now, the other thing that's very important is After Flame. Now, this one's a bit tricky. You have to use Echo skills. That's the only way. Using Echo skills will enable you to get to the 40-point threshold. Each Echo skill that you use, and it has to be completely different Echo skills, right? You can't use 2 charges on one Echo skill to get 8 point. No, it has to be 5 different Echo skills. But each one gives you 8 points. 8 times 5 equals 40-point threshold. Now my After Flame meter is built up. Great. However, there's a big problem. And I know you know what the problem is. Smack, we only got 3 characters in the party. I can only use 3 Echo skills. Where the fuck do I get the other 2 from? This is where I use my own intuition to figure this out. And that is, if we get 24 points from the party, the final 16 points come from 2 abilities in her arsenal, Galbrena's that is, that are considered Echo skill damage. And I am intuitively assuming that these 2 different Echo skills or abilities in her kit are going to be 2 entirely different Echo Tacit Discords. with, especially now that we know Galbrena has 8 fucking tacit discords in her body. Of course, this can be considered as 2 entirely different abilities on paper. I'm gonna be honest, it looks kind of ass in terms of what they showed. I know a lot of people aren't exactly impressed with how her concept sounds like summoning and using different abilities, but then you look at her and it's just fucking Bayonetta and Dante shooting guns and shit, right? I don't really, we're not here to talk about that. That's a whole different video. All I know is her basic attack, stage 4 and 5, basic attack, are considered echo skill, and I think it's just considered 1. And then her heavy attack stage 3 is considered another echo skill. Again, this is intuitively speaking. I haven't played the beta. I don't have access to that shit. This makes the most sense, right? Because when you think about 40-point threshold, use all 3 echoes from the party, that's 24 points. The final 16, considering this is the only thing in her kit considered echo skill damage, it has to be. That has to be the recipe. And so that's what I'm going based off of. If it were different when it releases, I'll straight up just go ahead and say I was wrong. It's not a problem, but 99% possibility that that's pretty much how it functions, unless they drop some fucking new kit or echo that has 2 different echoes when you cast it. No clue there, guys, okay? Continuing on. Once After Flame is completely filled to the brim, you then get a 60% damage increase to her attacks in the demon hypostasis mode. And so now we have a bit of a, like, not an issue, but it's a problem. But problems are good inside of kits, because the kit, if designed correctly, enables you to solve these problems, which proves for a methodical approach to enjoyment of playing that character's kit correctly. That said, you don't want to cast the enhanced skill once you fill up the 100-point threshold here until After Flame and the 40-point threshold has been fulfilled. Otherwise, you're going to enter her demon hypostasis mode without having the full efficacy of this. Now, of course, some people who don't get that sweaty, you don't mind not having the full 60% damage increase. You might be okay with 40%. And that's okay. I'm just letting you know, ideally, optimal wise, you want to make sure both of these are filled up before entering that demon hypostasis mode by casting the enhanced skill. Quick little summary of what I just said. What is demon hypostasis? Consumes purging flame by converting sin flame into it to perform the attacks. The more After Flame Galbrena has, the more damage she does, up to 60% damage increase. And it also gives, and this, I haven't said this yet, a free 85% multiplier, not damage increase, not amplification, multiplier to her attacks once you cast her ult. So this is where Galbrena deviates from Zani. With Galbrena, you don't have to cast her ult to enter the demon mode. The ult is just a burst of damage and a free 85% multiplier just given to you once you cast that ult. So there's a methodical approach here. Once After Flame and Sin Flame are filled up to the brim, you're gonna pop enhanced skill, enter demon mode, and then you're gonna immediately pop ult to get that 85% multiplier given to her abilities, right? So you're going to do that way. You could also pop ult and then enhance skill if you wanted to, but in my mind, I'm thinking enhance skill, enter demon mode, then pop ult. 85% multiplier given to her enhanced abilities. Start fucking popping off with her shooting and all that shit. Now there's one kit perk that she has and only she has that has made me quite excited, and that is her Hell Stride, aka her dodging ability. As we know, most characters in this game, they dodge and you just get the freaking cartwheel or whatever the hell that is, like a cartwheel without touching the ground with your hands, and you get a quick slow. I love that satisfying dodging in this game. I think we can all agree. Well, Galbrena, her dodge does the same thing, but also attacks as it does it. Really fucking cool. So I look forward to her doing basic attack sequences, heavy attack sequences, and right when somebody's trying to hit me, I dodge, but I attack as I dodge. And what's cool about that perk is she deals damage and she doesn't interrupt your basic attack sequence, which means you can beautifully woven in a perfect dodge and continue the flow of that Bayonetta Dante experience. And furthermore, the dodge can be comboed straight into her stage 4 basic attack, which is considered an echo skill. So there's a way that you can methodically like do a dodge and then go into an echo skill for optimization of fulfilling the After Flame meter. you can dodge straight into Echo skill proc. There's so many ways for you to utilize this dodge into her combos and rotations to ensure that you're optimizing her kit while having a good time. And I love how they cooked that up right there. Now, there's one more thing called Burning Drive. This is an inherent skill that activates by literally applying a debuff onto the enemy that can be stacked up to 4 times. This is kind of broken because it gives you a 20% attack increase and it prevents her from being interrupted, at least gives her a strong resistance to it. Usually, the reason I say that's broken is because usually interruption is a QOL that is given to you in the form of a fucking sequence node, as we all know it. You can look at like several different characters in this game, and interruption is like their sequence node 1. They gave that to Galbrena just for free inside of her kit. And so that's why I said it's kind of broken. Now, this is activated upon using her intro, her Hell Stride, Enhanced Basic 4, and her Resonant Skills. And because, oh wait, I got ahead of myself. 20% attack increase is actually, okay, I got ahead of myself. There's another buff. This bitch gives herself a lot of buffs. That is stacking up to 4 times. This isn't it. This just gives you a 20% attack increase, like no questions asked. And you just activate it by doing these 4 abilities. Sorry, but there's another one that is quite literally what I explained to you. Yeah, so that's my mistake. Burning Drive is just like some free ass passive, bro, in her kit. It's just cast these things and you get a 20% attack increase for 4 seconds, which means you can cast any of these to like keep the uptime on it. And then down here, her inherent skill is an entirely separate matter. This is going to be Oathbound Hunt, and it's called 1 Stack of Fated End. And you can read through this real quick, but all you need to understand is by casting a plethora of her abilities, you can gain up to 4 stacks of a 20% damage amplification. Whereas with Burning Drive, you get a 20% attack increase. That's why I got confused. It's the same multiplier or same exact increase, but different additives. Attack percent increase and then damage amplification. That's the multiplicative juicy boy. And then we have one more inherent skill that is really fucking solid in terms of like getting sweaty, advanced tech, and like canceling skills out so you can deal more damage. This one here gives you stamina restoration on these particular attacks. Her stage 4 basic, the Echo skill, her enhanced basic stage 5, and then heavy attack stage 3, as well as the enhanced version. Like these are the attacks that are also considered Echo skills. She will restore 10 stamina when you cast these abilities. That's why I said this could be insane for skill canceling and advanced tech. I think Galbrena is going to be one of those characters that is just wild. I feel like she is a solo DPS, like Chixia basically, or not, is that her name? Yeah, Chixia, the fire girl, but like the 5-star version. And then she's also just got all these, I feel like, insane quick swap capabilities. We'll have to see when she comes out, but that's what it comes off as. Now, adding in all of the buffs at the end, you have Afterflame, 60% damage increase. You have Res Lib, 85% multiplier to all her attacks. Burning Drive, 20% attack increase plus interruption. Inherent skill, 20% damage amplification. And then Demon Mode, this is not really a buff. It's just kind of intrinsically how her kit works. But it also gives you multiplier increase. But it's, yeah, like I said, it's not really a buff. So when we look at all of these, her rotations seem quite insane in terms of versatility, but not enough info on her quick swapping capabilities. So like, I can't even like tell you what you're going to be doing until I play the fucking character. So that pretty much wraps up all the things that I kind of like extrapolated from the Yap Fest that they supply. I kind of wanted to do this at the end. So if you guys wanted to like take a screenshot of this, you could totally screenshot this just to get your thing going. And then you kind of like have something to work off with. So it's a bit easier for you to digest. Now, in terms of my honest opinion on Galbrena's pull value, I genuinely think you could skip her. I really do. She is not as versatile as I thought she was going to be in terms of like being, because when I read her kit initially, I was like, ooh, she's bringing in a summon trope, which means they're probably going to start like having summon characters revolving around this character and she'll be like the core unit of the team. That's not the case at all. She just seems like a flashy DPS you can use. That's a fusion like role. But I mean, if you already have your Brant, Ching Li, and Lupa team, then you just don't need her, right? On the other end of the spectrum, if you're looking for a character that can just like kind of just pop the hell off as a solo DPS based off what I'm looking at here, or just like you love Galbrena's kit, then you can pull on her. That said, it does look like her and what's his name, Shu Yin, are going to be like a bit of a peanut butter and jelly. However, I do think Shu Yin's kit could change and be more like applicable and valuable than Galbrena's now. Whereas I thought he was just going to be the same like concept as a Yuno is to Augusta. I think Shu Yin might just be built fucking different. We'll have to wait to see. But for now, Galbrena actually looks more like a skip than a must-have. Just being completely honest. I'm picking her up because she looks fucking amazing. I want to play with her. But she doesn't seem like a must-have character by any stretch of the imagination. She just seems like she's going to be a really fucking strong DPS. But as you guys know, DPS are a dime a dozen. And so, yeah, you don't have to pick on her if you're like planning to skip and save for whoever the hell going forward. That's going to wrap up all my thoughts. Thanks for watching. Peace, love, and happiness. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side.